All is calm, all is bright. When all is safe, all is right. Enjoy peace of mind this holiday season with the Erie weather-ready all-wheel drive Honda CR-V. Visit us at Bianchi Honda, because together is a wonderful place to be.
All right, welcome back. It is Monday. Time now for the Gannon Lady Knights Coaches Show. He is Cleve Wright, the head coach, coming back from Bowie State, where you fell 58-46 on Saturday. And if that's not a great intro, I don't know what is.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much.
I want to ask you about the game. Did you have a good Thanksgiving? Did you take time to be still this week?
Yes, we had a little bit of time. We practiced early on Wednesday and then practiced in the evening on Thursday. So it gave us about 35-ish hours. So of course we're still doing prep and stuff, but the girls got a chance to go home. And, the ones that were too far away, they brought some their teammates home with them. So it was a chance to get away just for a little bit.
Good stuff. Then it was on to the road. So you went to Bowie State Saturday, that 58-46 final. But that doesn't tell the whole story. Through three quarters, you're down by 2. Would you call it a defensive battle to that juncture?
You could call it that. You could
Just
call
ugly,
it.
maybe?
You could call it ugly. You could call it, poor shooting on our part. I think we ended up at 29% for the game. Three of the quarters, first, second, and fourth quarter, I think we were like 26%, and then the third quarter we shot 40%. So, obviously for us, it wasn't just the shooting though. It was some defensive breakdowns late that would have helped us. We could have overcome the shooting. Just like I was telling you earlier, when you shoot well, it can hide some of those things that you're doing wrong. And when you shoot poorly, it exposes them. And certainly we got exposed on some things. And it was, we want it to be a learning experience and move forward, but certainly move forward learning from it.
Do you take solace, if you will, from the fact that you shoot poorly, those are your words, shoot poorly, and then you're still in the game that late?
Define solace. No. No.
I didn't feel relaxed.
No. I thought there was a lot of the situation where I thought defensively for three quarters of the game, I thought we did 66%, a third of the game, 2/3 of the game, I thought we did a pretty good job. I'm not going to give us too much credit there. 2/3 of the game, I thought we were fairly solid. And then, and to not shoot not to shoot the ball well, still have an opportunity to win. I mean, it went to double figures with a minute and a half left, and there was we did not handle ourselves well in the last 2 to 3 minutes of the game, and so that's something we're certainly going to have to learn from and to do better. And quite frankly, it was a little surprising because we've had some close games and played them fairly well, and we got to learn to do those things on the road.
I can see why it would be deflating late in the game, though. You have certain things that happen, and it's that split-second decision. But there's not that much. Time's so precious in those waning moments, so that split-second decision gets magnified.
Absolutely.
I mean, by what, 100?
Absolutely, and I think one thing that we've been talking about, and I felt like we were taking steps in the right direction, but did not happen for us on Saturday, is that possession is more important than position, and we were really worried about our position during the game, and it allowed us. I mean, we turned the ball over 20 times, and you can't shoot as poorly as we did and turn the ball over 20 times. I'm surprised we didn't get beat by 25. So we need to get back to the drawing board as far as that's concerned. Get back on the same page, show a more united front late in the game, and like I said, learn from it.
Is there a baseline number? Maybe I've asked you this already, but when it comes to turnovers, obviously 0 is what you would like. That said, I imagine there's a difference between if you score 95 points versus scoring 65. But where does that turnover? Where do you like to see that number at?
I'll be honest, I hate turnovers. It's the kind of turnover that you have that bothers me. You're right in the fact that if there's a lot of possessions, there's more opportunities for turnovers. But it's just that kind of turnover that you have that just bothers you. We go through, we chart turnovers, we chart the type of turnover, what happened, and so whether it may, some turnovers could be a called walk, which is, either you walked or it was just, it was a called walk, so obviously it becomes a walk, or it's a bad pass or a mishandle, a bad catch, a mishandle with a dribble. So there's, the answer to your question is a little bit ambiguous as far as knowing what's acceptable and what's not.
There's a formula, it sounds like. Yeah.
Right.
Obenreider, McKinney, they hit those back-to-back threes. They tie it at 29, then you tie it back up again at 33. So we've talked about it, but it was close late. And the poise, those are two relatively young players. Oftentimes they look more seasoned than they are, but to have the poise to step up and knock down those shots late, that's big.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think both those kids, both those players want to do well, and they've hit big shots for us before. And we, like I said, we probably missed, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, 20 plus shots from 4 feet. So, that bothers you. That bothers you, and I mostly it was because we were off balance, maybe anticipating somebody hitting us, things like that, and you can't do that when you're inside. You just got to focus, and hey, if they hit you, great. It's going to be in one. If you don't hear that whistle, which on the road sometimes you're not going to hear the whistle, then you still got the shot. But you can't depend on that whistle and get off balance, because that makes that shot that would be a good shot when you'd make it makes it into a bad shot.
This you see all the time at the high school level, but Chelsea Rourke's 9 points away from 1,000 in her career at the D2 level. That's just quite the accomplishment.
Yes, I mean, she's a heck of a shooter, and I really want to get her to really get her feet set even more often. I think she could shoot a little bit more than even what she's doing. Yes, heck of a shooter and a great person.
Haley Tavis, she stuffed the stat sheet sometimes, I think, and I would have said this about her older sister, but that's a different story. The Tavis, Haley, she kind of flies under the radar at times in all that she contributes. It's not always that point statistic, it's all the rest of them.
She's all over the stat board, and she has the ability, or the stat sheet, and she has the ability to be all over the stat sheet with her ability to rebound, to get steals. She sees the floor pretty well, especially for her position. She brings a lot to her team with her abilities.
Emily Poling, she certainly earns her minutes. She had 7 in that game, and she is that first off the bench role. She reminds me, in the era that I was watching you coach, of like a Kelsey McCoy, but she might be an even better scorer.
She is, and she's competing for more time, and I could see her becoming a starter in the future for sure. I mean that's a possibility. She's given us really good minutes. She's very consistent. She's trustworthy with the ball, knocks down open shots. She doesn't try to overdo stuff. She tries to play to her strengths, which is what we want all of our players to do, is to play to their strengths and try to avoid their weaknesses as much as possible. We want to do that as a team. And so as far as she's concerned, I think she's had a really good start to the year. We just finished, as far as regular season, we just finished 25%. We're a quarter in, already. It just seems like we just started.
Yeah.
But we're 25% in right now, and we've been talking about that as a team. We want this second 25% to be better than the first 25% because of what we've learned.
You rolled with a pretty consistent rotation of 6 through this first quarter of the season then. I imagine, are you comfortable with 6? Do you want to grow that number, I guess?
No, I'm not comfortable with 6. We need more players to step up.
Like 12, or is there a sweet spot?
Probably not 12. Probably more like 9 or 10. I think when you can play 9 or 10 players, see, we got some players right now playing 30 minutes, 31, 32 minutes, and I don't think that's good. I don't think you can play as hard as we want you to play on both ends of the floor if you're playing 32 plus minutes, and preferably I'd like to get, even our best players down to 28, 29 at the max, depending on the game situation and what's going on. In order to do that, we need a couple other players to step up and be trustworthy and dependable and to fill in that gap. And we certainly have players that are capable of doing that.
I always wonder how you pull those strings as a coach. And maybe it depends on the player, but do you just come out and say, there's a battle between you two, and the person that plays, is it all out in front like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, you meet with your team and clarify roles as far as what you're looking for, and we try to be really clear with that. Things have been pretty crazy this year. I don't know that I've been as clear as I need to be on that with our players, but I think they're aware that practice proves a lot, and we're going to pay attention to what you do in practice. And if you do well in practice and can handle whatever game scheme, game plan scheme, whatever that you're doing, if you're handling that well, then you're going to build more confidence in me and coaches. I'm a typical coach. I'm going to play the players that I trust the most. And so all of my players, and I've said that to them, I think all of my players understand, hey, I need to do everything I can to get his trust, because that's going to give me opportunities on the floor.
You got to love this statistic, rebounds, although it was even, 37-37, so you probably wish you had more, but I think that could be one of the first things to go out the window if you were to mail it in. Your team's clearly not mailing it in because they're still rebounding down the stretch. But if I'm, giving up on a game, I'm not going to go in there and battle and get beat up along the boards.
Right. Yeah, I think that situation, as far as the boards are concerned, I thought there was after watching the film a couple times, there were a lot more boards there for us to get, and we gave up some to them on the defensive end that we need to do a better job putting our body on somebody and sitting on them, hitting them, and sealing them off and away from the basket so we can go get the rebound. So, it's funny, you want to get as many rebounds as you can, especially on that defensive end, because that means they're shooting poorly, and there's a rebound to go get. And then offensively, like, shoot a really high percentage, and maybe there's just not as many offensive rebounds. And again, that's kind of like what we were talking about before. You can't really say, okay, I need this many turnovers or whatever.
You want less offensive boards if you're making baskets to fall.
Exactly, because there's going to be less to be available. So I think we mentioned it last time. One of the stats that's really important is that assist to turnover ratio. That shows you if you're sharing the ball and if you're doing those type of things. But you look at, there's only so many possessions in a game. That's why the possession is more important than the position. And when you have a team that values that and understands that, that's when you can have some really special teams. You don't really have to coach them on it because they have that value. It's like you're having to pay $50 every time they turn the ball over. I guarantee they're going to turn the ball over. At the same time, you don't want them scared. You want them to play.
Right.
So there's that delicate balance, trusting, making the easy pass, and being able to complete it.
I'll tell you, from the outside looking in, it's fun to watch you get to know your team. So obviously that's still a work in progress. But 5-2 early on,
Yeah, I think it's a good start. Coaches are never satisfied. If I was sitting here 7-0, I'd be like, oh, well, we still got to whatever. And that's the nature of the job. That's what we do. We know that we can always be better and get better, but 5-2 is a solid start. And again, like I said, we just want to get a little bit better each day, and we want to see this second quarter of the season to see us take some steps in our basketball IQ, some steps in our togetherness, some steps in our toughness, some steps in our understanding of what's needed to be our best.
So, Cleve, you've got Kutztown next Saturday. They play at the Keystone Arena, and I learned today, maybe you knew this was the training camp home of the New Jersey Nets in the fall of 1995. Did you know? See, I think it was a temporary thing, so I figured they had like a statue when you walked in the place, but...
No, I'm sorry to let you down.
Will you be thinking of that Saturday during the game?
That will probably never enter my mind.
All right, maybe I'll hold up a sign to remind you. 95 Nets.
Oh, that's right. You'll be making the trip.
That's right. This is the first one, so we'll see.
Hey.
I don't mind. Hey, if you want to boot me, you're gonna win. It doesn't matter. What do you know about Kutztown?
I think Janet does a great job there. They're a solid team, play really well. I think they have some kids that have some confidence, and they shoot the ball well, and they certainly play better at home. Their record's not great right now, but they've played a lot of away games. I think they've only played one home game, if I'm remembering correctly. I think we're like their second home game. So they're going to feel pretty good that they've went on the road and battled with some people. And so I'm sure they'll be happy to be back at home. It'll be a strong test for us. We'll have to be ready to play.
Good stuff. Cleve Wright, head coach, Gannon Lady Knights. Good luck on Saturday. That'll be 1 p.m. And if you're not making the trip out, you can catch the call right here on this station. Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll see you in Kutztown.
Yes, sir.
Okay.